Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, when fleas were barbers in haystacks and camels were town criers, there lived a commander and his loyal dog, Bobby, in a small village. This commander was renowned as the best hane, trader, catcher in the entire country, and he was deeply respected, loved, and feared by everyone. The commander had recently returned from a great victory in a massive war, bringing pride to his homeland. His faithful dog, Bobby, always stood by his side, and together they were a formidable duo, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. The king of the land recognized the commander's valor and rewarded him with one of the small palaces to use as his own. The commander and Bobby moved into the palace, and the news of their new home quickly spread throughout the country. However, this newfound fame proved to be a curse, as everyone now knew their whereabouts, including their enemies, and fear began to permeate their lives. One of the commander's old adversaries, who was aware of his new residence, devised a treacherous plan to capture and kill him. They lay in wait for the commander in the forest, intending to ambush him when he came to collect firewood to keep warm. As fate would have it, the plan unfolded just as they had envisioned. On a cold evening, the commander decided to venture into the forest with Bobby to gather firewood. Knowing they would be late due to the dropping temperatures, he didn't bring Bobby along. As the commander walked towards the forest, he was suddenly seized by his enemies. They forcibly took him to a hidden cabin and planned to put an end to his life. Meanwhile, Bobby grew increasingly worried when the commander didn't return home on time. Sensing something amiss, Bobby decided to follow his master's trail. In the heart of the forest, Bobby noticed a peculiar turn of events. The scent of the commander was growing fainter, and he seemed to have disappeared completely. Dogs possessed an extraordinary sense of smell, and Bobby was determined to track down his master, no matter how far he had gone. Finally, Bobby discovered their location. He stumbled upon the commander's treacherous captors. Although the commander lacked firearms, spears, or a sword, the villains were well equipped with an assortment of weapons. Bobby pondered how he could save the commander. An idea dawned upon him. He decided to distract the enemies and then use his wits to free his master's hands. Bobby went to the garden and knocked over tin cans, creating a racket that piqued the villains' curiosity. Perplexed by the noise, they slowly approached the garden. Meanwhile, Bobby concealed himself nearby, awaiting the perfect moment. Just as the villains reached the garden and were engrossed in finding the source of the commotion, Bobby silently moved to free the commander's bonds. As soon as the commander's hands were liberated, he and Bobby swiftly retreated into the shadows, escaping their captors. Several hours passed, and this time, the commander returned with his troops. They apprehended the villains and locked them up, ensuring their reign of terror ended. This incident became famous throughout the land, and from that day on, no wicked souls dared to enter their beloved country again.